Hey everyone, this is your holistic integrative wellness coach, Nyoka. And I want to thank you for watching today because we are here to interview one of our guests who will be traveling with us to Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. That's why we're here. Okay, that's what I want to do here in this talk, right? And I want us to get into that headspace, right? I want you to tap into this headspace right now, and I'm going to set it up for you. Okay, I'm going to set it all up for you. I want you to imagine waking up to the breathtaking beauty of Tanzania. You're surrounded by a community of like-minded individuals who are on a journey of self-discovery and cultural immersion, right? Our March trip that we had earlier on this year, 2024, it was unforgettable. All right. It was an experience that left us uplifted, reconnected, and forever changed. But now we are thrilled to announce that we are bringing this transformative opportunity back to the people because from November 30th to December 7th, we want you to join us in Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar for a wellness tour that will elevate your mind, your body, your soul, your heart, your spirit, all to new heights. All right, you ready to come with us? You ready to come on this incredible adventure? Well, I don't want you to wait another moment. If you're ready just by this introduction, I want you to comment wellness below so that we can reach out to you and you can secure your spot. All right. And remember, this is more than a trip, it is a chance to explore the rich culture and stunning landscapes of East Africa while prioritizing your well being. That part, that is the jam, right? We're going to have our favorite yogi with us. We're going to have Yogi Pete with us. We're going to have our travel crew with us. And Joshua is going to show us all of the things that we may have imagined or maybe we have not imagined. We're going to connect to culture. We're going to get history that you can't get in history books. Hear me. You have to experience it. All right. So you don't want to miss out on this amazing opportunity to create memories that will last a lifetime. Go ahead and comment wellness. All right. Comment wellness so we can get you the information that you need. So without further ado, today I will be interviewing one of our guests who will be going with us on our wellness tour. Her name is Akilah Bain. So I want to welcome Akilah to the stage.
Hey, everybody. Thank you
Hey,
for having me.
Akilah. You are so welcome. I remember when we met. We met back how many years ago now?
I
Two?
think it's been 2 years.
I think it's been in 2 years. We met at a Wawa Aba Wellness retreat in South Florida.
Yes,
And I think for the first day, what we did was a lot of workshops, right? We did a lot of
absolutely.
interactive activities. And then the next day, we all met up to do some things outside in nature. And Wawa Aba is very connected to the Akom tradition out of Ghana, West Africa. So it's a different space, right? We talked a little different language and all this. And Akilah was like, this is interesting. But anyway, we stayed connected. And Akilah heard that I was doing this tour, and she was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to let Akilah introduce herself, and then we're going to get into it.
Well, what can I say? My name is Akilah, and yes, we met at one of these seminars, and it was a mind-blowing experience for me. I was in a really deep depression, and it it just opened all these blockages about
Mm.
honesty and letting go of things and trusting, and not in everybody but in myself, you know. um The second day, I think, was a spiritual awakening, and it just left me wanting more. Um, I heard about the trip after the fact, because if I would have known about the trip in March, I would have been there. I would have saved my little pennies, dimes, nickels, whatever.
And boy, you are doing it. You are
Okay, it
so
ain't known, whatever it took
disciplined.
to get on that plane. Um, and I was so, I don't want to say jealous because, or envious because that's a negative connotation, but I saw individuals on this trip, and it looked like it was very grounding. There was a cultural immersion. Everybody was so happy. They were going at their own pace. They were absorbing everything in nature, getting connected with their roots. Everyone had a peaceful Zen type of vibe. Um, it just seemed like the type of headspace that I was moving towards out of the rat race, because I am a lawyer. I work in a criminal courtroom. Um, and it could be very stressful to see so many people who look like me where they are and in that plight. Um, so it was just refreshing to kind of step back and look at the positive. I saw them on the safari out in nature, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't believe I missed it."
Well, we did post a lot about that March. That was our first wellness
Mm,
tour. And I was really proud to be on the tour with those particular group of people because they are travelers, they are military, and so they were just open to going to Zanzibar because that was on their bucket list.
mm,
Yeah, and when Chief Greg realized that we were going, he said, "No, no, we gotta do this. I'm going, I'm going." I said, "All right." And he's been to Ghana with us.
okay,
He's traveled to Ghana with us, so he knows what going on tours are like with us, and he felt so amazing on our tour. He said he would go back again, so we're looking for him to return, and Tasha, she enjoyed herself so much, and she's one of those folks who's used to the luxury type vibe, and we make the experience as luxurious as we can, but still eco-friendly because
yes,
we want to maintain that. We don't want to contribute to a bigger issue. We want to
hmm,
try to, help to support an eco-friendly type of environment. So
wonderful.
there's so many of these questions that you answered already. Like, what inspired you to join our wellness tour to Zanzibar? I understand that it was from tapping in during the retreat in South Florida and wanting to expand that spiritual awakening that you experienced, right? Um,
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Thank you so much for being patient. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to travel with you. You are
Yeah,
showing me all of the wonderful attributes of someone who I want to travel with us. Like,
thank
you're
you.
patient, you're understanding, you're open.
Yeah,
I'm so honored to travel with you. Oh my gosh, I'm getting
me too,
excited.
me too. I'm a kind of go with the flow type of person anyway, you know.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have such an awesome time. Okay,
I know we
so
are.
so, we were talking and, I was saying I noticed that you were really watching what we were doing in March. So you saw the safari, you
Yes,
saw us go up the trail to the waterfall. That was
yes.
a beautiful place. Did you know I almost passed out? I almost passed out.
No. Not on the trail. That's my favorite part. Well, one of my favorite parts.
But I'm telling you, you exercise, you're in shape. I don't know what I thought I could do it, but when I started, I literally had to tell myself step by step. Since
Yes,
I've been back, I've made sure that I'm walking and moving and exercising because obviously that was my lesson. You're not moving around as you think you are. You're not as fit as you think you are. Listen, you're not as fit as you think you are. You need to go back and get it together. So when I came back from March, I increased my activity. I
yes.
watch what I'm eating. Like, I said, this can't be me. When we go back, I should be able to
You're
keep
gonna
up
be the
with
leader of the
everybody else.
pack, huh?
I'm about to get on the elliptical over here at the Y.
Let me tell you, there's an aspect of it with the altitude, I think, that makes it difficult. It's, you know, you're going up against that. So, of course, it's going to increase the difficulty. So, you might, like here in Florida, I might be okay because I'm on flat land. It's going to be a whole nother story when that incline hits.
Right,
So, I already
exactly.
know.
You know what it is. You know
I
exactly
know.
what it is.
I'm going to be ready, or at least I hope to be ready.
And you know what? It's okay. All I did was slow down, go
Yeah,
at my own pace, take my own time, and it was okay. I kept saying to myself, step by step by step. But I understand that you were looking at all of that, right? And you
absolutely.
were saying, "Wow, I really want to go." So, based on that, tell me, what are you looking forward to the most to experience this trip?
Okay, so besides swimming with turtles and, the safari and going up the falls, which is really high. I want to see the I mean, I'm an ADD person. I'm like all over the place. I want to get into the historical stuff as well. There's a part of me that's a
Mm.
little geeky, and
That's why we just
there's a little, like spot that's like, that it's very intriguing. I'd
yeah,
like to learn about things that are right now just kind of obscure, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
things that obviously growing up in Miami-Dade County, they didn't teach us.
yeah,
So I want to learn. I'm an open book.
yeah,
I want to absorb myself in the culture as much as possible. I want to eat the food that they eat. I want to try the fruit, the indigenous fruit and vegetables there.
yeah.
I'm just mostly the history, but also the total cultural immersion part of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that I loved was our tour of Stone Town, and
Ah,
that's where you're gonna get a lot of the history from. I will not spoil it from you
okay, don't
for
tell me,
you.
don't tell me
I won't tell you, but, it was it did something for my spirit to walk around Stone Town. Um, and we also made a detour, on our way back from safari. We made a detour and stopped at a place called Bagamoya, and
yet.
Bagamoya is a very, important piece of how colonialism evolved and came to the indigenous people of the land. So I pray we get to do that detour again. Maybe I spoiled a special, I don't know. But that part was so good last time. I had to mention that, and there's a possibility that we will be doing that again. But the Stone Town tour, that was so eye-opening. I learned so much.
The Baga Moya, is that how you pronounce it?
Uh-huh,
That's
Bagamoy.
really intriguing to me because you don't hear about a lot of colonialism from the East. You hear about it more from the West, like
Yeah,
Nigeria, Ghana, the
yeah,
West
yeah,
Coast. So
yeah,
that part, that's kind of fuzzy. So you're like, mm,
yeah. People don't talk about, uh, our there are some ancestors that were taken from East Africa after they said, "Okay, if you wanna call it this transatlantic Holocaust."
mhm,
Transatlantic slave trade, right? You wanna call it that. When they said, "No, we have to stop that," they continued from East Africa, and they would take the ancestors from that part and transport them to places like Jamaica and other places in the diaspora. So, the truth of the matter is, um, we have many descendants from there as well,
wow.
and many of us don't know that part. And they have a huge Arabic influence. there, and you'll see that when we go. Many people there, they are Islamic.
Mhm.
And then you'll see the Maasai, who are some of the traditional people walking around in the city. It's very interesting, dressed in their traditional clothes and
Okay.
toting they thing. I won't spoil what that is, but when you get there, you'll see it, and it'll be like, wow, no one is scared. No one is. No, they're not. And they actually encourage the Maasai to dress in their indigenous um, dress and work. It's
Mm.
very amazing. So you're gonna love that. As a history buff, you're
I
going to love
am. I have one
it.
of my sons who looks like a Maasai.
Yes,
Tall,
I've seen your
thin,
son.
dark,
Yes.
little sinewy muscles, what you think of, in your brain.
Yeah,
So
actually,
I'm excited. I'm
yeah,
excited to see and
yeah.
make that connection. Maybe it's an ancestor. You
Mhm.
never know.
Maybe. You never know. So, knowing all of this, how do you think this wellness tour will differ from your typical vacation?
Oh my God. Lights, I mean, apples and oranges, because, I've been to Europe when I was married, and my partner really wasn't I guess fitted for me. He wasn't really a partner for me. He was more interested in their culture. When I say their, I mean others. Not that if there's anything wrong with others. Um, there was this expectation that, oh, you've been to Europe, you're refined, you're this, almost better. Whereas I didn't. I don't say I don't value that. I do value that, but I value me more. And where I come from more. And my priority was to get to Africa,
Mhm.
to connect with my roots, my heritage. Um, his wasn't. So after Europe a few times, we went to Dominican Republic, which is kind of a compromise, you know. My family's from the Bahamas. His family is from St. Lucia. So we've been there, and that was even more of a compromise. Okay, we're getting closer, but to actually go to the motherland was just my ultimate dream. So that's something that I personally want to do. And then in the future, I want to bring my children
Yeah,
with me. And in addition to that component, I want to do it in a way that's thoughtful, that's mindful,
yeah,
that's going to continue to help me develop as a person. The
yeah,
spiritual connection, the wellness, the mental health connection, all of those things, I think, make this trip different as opposed to let's go see the Eiffel Tower. Let's go see what these other people are doing over here. Let's see what we're doing.
yeah,
Let's see how are we relevant,
yeah.
And then, you know, to use a black owned business, it's like extra.
Well,
Okay.
you know how I
I
feel
mean,
about
my dollars are going right back into the community. So for me, it's a win, 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 win. You
love.
know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I like to tell people that every time that I go and visit a place in Africa, whether it's Ghana or Tanzania, we've also been to Togo and Benin.
Mhm.
Whenever I go there, I call it a pilgrimage. Right? So I make pilgrimages,
Mhm.
because I say when I come back, the impact is just it blows my mind. Every time I come back, I feel more empowered.
I was gonna say confident,
Yeah,
more
all of the
bold.
things. All of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely feel more empowered, more confident, definitely more aligned with who I am. And it's just a value add. When people are like, oh, so how have what have you done to add value? I've gone to Africa several times and experienced things that, I can't experience anywhere else.
I don't know that you could describe it. It's an intangible,
Yeah.
you know, it's priceless. I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely, by far. By far, it's priceless. Let's see. So my last question, I guess, can be, um, When you come back, right?
Mhm.
What personal growth or wellness goals um, do you think this will impact for you when you return home?
Wow, that's a hard question because my personal goal is to become more, what is the word? I'm searching for the word in this 47-year-old brain, and it's like, it's right here. It's right here. I want to say intuitive, to become more close with the source, if that makes any sense to you at all.
Well,
It makes sense to me in my brain, but I
people
feel
will
like
say,
I feel like because of their life in general, um, the impact of slavery, discrimination, Jim Crow, like that connection to the source becomes more and more attenuated. And
"Mm,
although now we may or may not have Black president, it's still very attenuated. Um, there's things that each and every one of us as individuals need to do to bridge that gap and make it stronger. And that's one of my personal goals.
yeah,
Um, to be closer to the source, to be more intuitive, and back to that worship on trust myself more, and then bring my children into it,
yeah,
to keep it going for generations and generations, so they will have a connection,
yeah,
so they can have that sense of pride, so they could be at one with the source. Like, I feel like the more generations go by, um, the less they know about themselves and how they relate in this culture. Like,
yeah.
we're not from here. We weren't brought here voluntarily. We didn't take a cruise to get over here. And people want to say, "Oh, that stuff is over and done with." Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, I'm not in the cane field doing this and that and picking cotton and all that. Um, but I still feel that there is a gap. There's a connection gap that needs to be filled. There's a void. And until we all fill that void, starting with ourselves and then trickling it down to our children, we can't move forward as a people. We can't have answers. We don't really, me personally, we're not completely whole. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but
Well,
that's how I feel.
I can understand your perspective and where you're coming from. Many people will say, "Well, you can feel whole anywhere you are in the world." But
No.
for some of us, until we connect in that way, we really never do feel whole for some of us. Now, I've seen people go on these cultural trips and they come back and it doesn't impact them. Honest, I'm going to be honest. There are
Mm,
people who do, but I want to help those who want that reconnection, like you, who
yeah.
yearn for that reconnection, because it doesn't matter where you go in Africa, if you go there, you're going to feel that connection.
Yes.
I've heard so many people talk about it. I've heard people say, "Well, I look at this person and they look like my auntie. They look like my uncle. They look
Exactly.
like my family. Like, they look like
Exactly.
my family." And so you talked about the similarities with your son on the
Yes.
stature and where he looks like he
It
comes from. And so
really does.
yeah, and my son who is 5, when we went last time, he said, "Mommy, we used to live here." Blew
He
my
is better.
mind, blew my mind totally. I wasn't expecting him to say that. I know how I feel about being connected there, but for him to say it, out of the mouth of babes. So I understand it. I understand it and appreciate, that perspective, of course, of course. So again, we are going to have our personal yogi. We're going to have some discussions that are going to open up and just brighten some corners of our minds.
Yeah.
We're going to go on safari. We are going to do those trails and go to see waterfalls. We are going to be on the beautiful islands of Zanzibar, because there are several islands that make up Zanzibar. And we're going to explore. And I just cannot wait to hear the post interview with Akilah. So I'm going to make sure that you have something to write with or record with or whatever the case may be, because
Okay.
the post recap, I think, is going to be amazing. So
A whole
Akilah,
new person.
thank you for
Oh,
the pre game show. But the post is going to be off
might be
the
dancing in that one.
I'm sure, and not sitting here, right? But I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. And I am just looking forward to the time that we're going to have in Zanzibar and in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And I'm
Hey, 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 hey.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so excited. I'm glad to be a part of this journey.